Mexico doesn't have a striker problem. Mexico has a production problem.
For 2 decades, Mexico has produced incredible midfielders, some pretty solid defenders, and some world-class goalkeepers. But attackers, the ones who finish plays, break down games, and actually win matches, we can build every player archetype, but not the attackers who finish the job.
So why does a country of over 120 million people struggle to create just one world-class attacker? And don't say Chicharito, Carlos Vela, or even Giovanni Dos Santos. They were amazing talents, sure, but not the result of a working system, just some glitches in the matrix.
And now we're heading into another World Cup cycle, and we're asking the same question, still waiting for that breakthrough attacker who can change everything. Today we're digging into culture, tactics, youth development, and the chaos of Liga MX to answer one uncomfortable question: why Mexico can't develop world-class attackers.
Let's talk about it.
Mexico has built this reputation of being a country that constantly produces promising young players. Every time a youth tournament comes around, we hear the same storyline. He's the future of Mexican football. He's the next Vela. He's supposed to be our new attacking star. But year after year, that promise doesn't turn into reality. The excitement fades, the headlines die down, and too many of those future stars end up as rotation players in Liga MX by their mid-20s. Just look at Diego Lainez. I broke down his whole career in a video, and his story fits the pattern perfectly. A player full of potential who never got the environment to grow into the attacker everyone expected.
The myth isn't that Mexico has no talent. Mexico absolutely produces a lot of talent, especially in the midfield and defense. The real myth is believing that talent automatically becomes elite.
History tells a different story. Since the 1990s, Mexico has produced only a small handful of attackers who consistently made an impact in the world's top leagues. Chicharito was the only one to score at a high level across Europe. Vela shown in flashes, but never on the world stage in a sustained way. Gio had moments of brilliance, but never grew into the player his talent suggested. Meanwhile, much smaller countries keep producing elite attackers. Uruguay, with a population of the size of Guadalajara, gave the world Suarez, Cavani, and now Darwin Nunez. Belgium, a fraction of Mexico's size, produced Hazard, De Bruyne, Lukaku, Mertens, and Carrasco.
This isn't about population. It's not about genetics or the natural ability, like a lot of people say. It's about the environments that help attackers grow, from young talents into world-class talents. And that's where Mexico usually breaks down. This is where the real story begins. Liga MX is fun, it's chaotic, it's entertaining, but it's not built to develop attackers.
It's built to win right now, and in a league built for the present, young attackers are the first ones pushed to the side.
Let's start with the obvious. Foreign attackers take most of the minutes.
Clubs spend money on 27 or 28-year-old South Americans who can score right now. If you're a 19-year-old Mexican winger, you're not beating that for a starting spot.
And that's not a coaching problem.
Coaches in Liga MX don't get time. One bad month can cost them their job. You can't develop a young attacker when you're worried about losing your job in 3 weeks. So instead of development, the league chooses stability, the safe option. But that safety comes at a cost.
Mexican attackers stop growing because they stop playing. A young attacker needs minutes more than anything, and minutes are the thing that usually Liga MX refuses to give.
And even when a young attacker shows promise, selling him to Europe isn't part of the plan. Liga MX clubs often ask for Premier League prices for players who haven't even become starters yet. Just look at Santiago Giménez. It took him years to get consistent minutes at Cruz Azul, and only once he left for Europe did he finally explode as a goal scorer.
And that's why young Mexican attackers rarely reach Europe at the right age. It creates a paradox.
Mexico produces technical attackers, but gives them no place to grow.
That's the beautiful trap of Liga MX. The league thrives. The stadiums are full. The games are fun. But for the attackers that want to be world class, it's a ceiling.
Mexico's youth system produces technically gifted players. That part isn't really up for debate. Mexican kids grow up with good first touches, clean passing, and and strong fundamentals. But attackers aren't built on fundamentals alone. They're built on chaos, on risk, on improvisation, on being willing to try something that might not work.
And that's where Mexico usually falls behind.
From a young age, players are taught to not lose the ball. They're taught to play it safe, to make the right pass, to keep possession at all costs. And that creates solid players, but not dangerous ones.
Being safe doesn't create game winners.
Look at the world's best attackers. Vinicius wasn't raised to play it simple. Salah wasn't raised to play it safe. Neymar wasn't raised to avoid mistakes. They were encouraged to break rules, to take players on, to force the game into their terms.
Mexico doesn't train that. Not consistently. Not intentionally.
Just look at Diego Lainez again. All the tight control in the world, all the technique, but he never learned how to be a constant threat because the system teaches you to value safety more than impact. So we produce midfielders who are titty, disciplined, smart, but attackers who struggle to break a game open on their own. It's the difference between good and being special, and the numbers reflect it. Across the last decade, Mexico has produced almost no attackers who consistently hit the goal and chance creation numbers that top European talents reach by the age of 20 or 21.
Not because Mexican players lack skill. They don't. It's because the system trains them to avoid mistakes instead of learning from them.
And attackers grow by failing, and they learn by taking risks, by trying things, by stretching the limits of their game. But when you're raised to fear losing the ball,
You never learn how to take a ball and win the match. That's the other half of Mexico's problem. Mexico produces talent, but world-class attackers need freedom, not fear. There's another layer to this problem that goes beyond tactics or player development. It's the culture around Mexican attackers. The moment a young forward shows a spark, the hype starts immediately.
he's labeled the next big thing, compared to legends, and treated like the future of the national team before he's even played like 10 professional games.
And the media plays a huge part in that.
Mexican sports media is massive, and hype sells. Talking about upcoming star brings clicks, views, and revenue, so new saviors get created constantly. The story grows faster than the player ever can.
Mexico doesn't just want attacking stars, it expects them.
And that pressure lands on kids who are still learning how to be professionals.
One good game,
He's the answer.
one bad game.
He's trash.
There's no middle ground, no patience. But attackers need more patience than anyone.
They need space to fail, to experiment, to make mistakes without being judged instantly.
Instead, many young Mexican attackers grow up being scared. Not scared of defenders, just scared at the headlines. Scared of being that next overhyped name, the moment something goes wrong.
Just look at Lainez or even early Santiago Giménez. The expectations were huge before they fully understood their own game. And when they didn't immediately dominate, the criticism was just as loud as the hype.
The pressure creates the same issue we see in youth development. Players stop taking risks.
They start playing it safe. They try to avoid mistakes instead of trying to create something special.
When a culture doesn't let attackers to grow slowly, most of them don't grow at all. That's the weight of expectation. And for Mexico, it's one of the greatest barriers between talent and greatness. There's another problem that Mexico faces, one that has nothing to do with talent and everything to do with opportunity.
Mexico doesn't have a clear pathway that takes young attackers from Liga MX to Europe at the right age. Not consistently, not in the way other football nations do. The countries that produce elite attackers, Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, Belgium, Portugal, all share one thing. Their young players leave early.
Not at 24, not at 25, at 18, 19, or even 20, even if they're not ready yet.
Vinicius left at 18. Darwin Nunez left at 20. Julian Alvarez left at 22. They didn't wait to be perfect. They became perfect because they left. Europe shapes the final 30% of an attacker's game.
But Mexico sends players too late, if it sends them at all. Part of that is the transfer fees.
Liga MX clubs ask for European star prices for players who aren't even in Liga MX stars yet. It scares away the exact clubs clubs that normally take chances on young talent.
And part of it is comfort. Liga MX salaries are usually pretty high. The facilities are good. Life is pretty stable. There's no financial urgency to leave.
But there's also fear.
Leaving Mexico at 18 or 19 doesn't feel normal. It feels pretty risky. A new language, a new country, with no family members around you. It's a leap a few players are prepared to take, and even fewer are encouraged to take.
Contrast that with MLS, where in less than a decade the league built a clear pipeline to Europe. Teenagers leave regularly. Clubs expect it. Fans understand it. It's part of the system. Mexico never built that step.
Look at the Mexican players who did succeed in Europe. Chicharito left at 22, Héctor Herrera left at 23, Edson Álvarez left at 21.
They left early enough to be shaped, not judged.
Now look at the attackers who left too late, or never left at all. Vela, Gio, Raúl Jiménez, Alexis Vega, Antuna. Different types of careers, but the same pattern.
So by the time Europe came calling, they weren't really prospects anymore. They were finished products, trying to adapt when the window had already closed.
And that's the issue. Europe doesn't want finished products from Mexico. Europe wants raw talents to shape into stars.
But Mexico doesn't have a pipeline for that.
No feeder clubs, no partnerships, no clear path for an 18-year-old who dreams of leaving. So young attackers stay and stay and stay.
Until the moment passes and the pathway closes. Without the right timing, talent can't turn into stars. Without a bridge, potential never becomes reality.
Mexico doesn't lack world-class potential. It lacks the road that takes players from home to the highest level. After everything we've broken down, the development issues, the league structure, the cultural pressure, the missing pathway, the big question is simple. Can Mexico actually fix this?
The answer isn't a yes or no. It's only if the entire system changes what it values. Because creating world-class attackers isn't magic. It's not luck. It's not a once every 15 years glitch. It's a process, a long one, a painful one.
And for Mexico, it starts with three things.
Give young attackers real minutes.
Not cup minutes, not 10 minutes at the end of the game, like actual development minutes. The kind that makes them make mistakes in real games, at real speeds, and real defenders. The kind every elite attacker in the world had at like 19 or 20. Until young Mexican attackers play, nothing changes.
Build a pathway to Europe, not a wall.
This means normalizing early moves. It means lowering the asking price of those players. It means accepting that a player leaving at 19 doesn't weaken the league. It makes the national team stronger. The MLS has figured this out. South America figured this out decades ago. Mexico is the only outlier. The moment Mexican clubs see Europe as a partner instead of a threat, the door finally opens.
Change the way attackers are coached.
Coaches need freedom too. Freedom to let young attackers play through mistakes without losing their jobs over one result. And the youth coaches need to encourage risks. Like it's literally part of the whole system. Dribbling, unpredictability, decision-making, and chaos. Not perfection, not safety, not fear. Because a country that coaches players who avoid mistakes will always struggle to produce players who win games.
None of these changes is easy. Some won't happen overnight. Some might even take a decade. But if Mexico wants world-class attackers, this is literally the price. It needs a league that trusts young players, a culture that gives them space, a pathway that pushes them to grow, and a football identity built on courage, not caution.
Mexico absolutely has the talent. That has never been the problem. The problem is everything around the talent. And until that changes, Mexico will keep producing good players, but not attackers who can change the World Cup.
Now,
if you want to explore what modern football looks like, click the video up above or down below. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys liked the video. This is a little bit different from what I usually do because this is way longer format. And I'm talking about a little bit, more specific to my race. Obviously, I am Mexican. I do follow the Liga MX. And I do always worry about Mexico not creating enough attackers, if that makes sense. If you guys want me to continue to talk about Mexican topics, I'll gladly talk about them. I appreciate your guys' support. Everything you guys have done so far this year has been amazing. So yeah, I'll catch you guys, I guess, on the next one maybe. Hopefully. Yes. Peace out.